Did somebody say food for thought Friday? It is Friday once again, guys. As we had said, we will be sharing food for thought Fridays every Friday. The time might be a bit skewed, but we will deliver, right? So today we will be sharing these two major tips for the day, and we will be sharing them at the end of the video. So please do bear with us and watch the full video, because today we will be sharing a real life scenario, and we just want to make sure that it's relatable with the majority of us, if not all of us. And I'm sure you guys know of somebody who might have experienced this. You might be faced with the same dilemma on your end, but you're just not aware, right? So just to get straight into it and not waste your time, it is a Friday, so let's get right into it. So there is a family, a lovely family, husband and wife with 3 children. This is a 2-income household, meaning that the wife and the husband are currently working and they can assist each other financially to maintain and sustain the household, right? The children, 2 are in high school, 1 is in primary school. Now, because the husband has a higher income than the wife, he has taken on more of the expenses and the liabilities of the household, right? So the husband one day leaves for a work conference, and unfortunately he loses his life due to a car accident. And this was a drunk driver that hit him, and unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Now, upon the wife receiving these news, guys, she realized that she would have to take on this life thing by herself with her children, because her life partner has basically left her. Now, in the midst of all of this, while she's still distraught and grieving, she now has to reach out to family and friends with regards to sharing these news. And say about a day or 2, she starts preparing for the funeral. So she reaches out to one of the financial providers where her husband's funeral policy was, right? And she processes all the required documents to submit for a claim. And fair enough, the claim pays out so that she can take care of all the final expenses that pertain to a funeral. Say about a week or so later, she is basically sitting in her lovely home and trying to gather her life, pull herself towards herself, and it dawns on her that she actually has to start taking on these extra expenses, like the bond, the kids' school fees, all of these things that the husband was taking care of. So she's like, you know what, actually my husband had a life insurance policy. So let me reach out to the life insurer and see what they would need for me to process the claim. So she reaches out to the financial advisor that was on record on the documents that she found, and is asking for assistance with regards to getting the claim processed. Guys, she thought that these extra additional expenses and liabilities were the only thing she would be faced with. But that call made her realize that that was the least of her problems, because the response she received from the financial advisor was a rude awakening to her and something she could have never fathomed. The financial advisor informed her that the husband never concluded the business with him. They were still in the process. The document that she found in the house was not a policy schedule, but a quote that the husband had not completed and accepted. So he basically does not have a life cover to his name. Can you imagine? What was going through her head? She's still grieving, she's still mourning her partner. And now she has to be faced with the reality of the financial strain that is about to befall her life and her children. Lo and behold, shortly thereafter, the bank calls and they say, well, unfortunately, we have lost the bond owner's life, but we need our money. We need that loan to be settled. So are you able to settle it, or what is going to happen? Because we've just realized that your husband did not have any money, any investments, any policies that would generate money in his estate to pay off these debts and liabilities. So the only thing that he has to his estate is the property. So we basically have to take back the property. And the wife had no way, no sway out of it, because she couldn't afford that bond on her own anyway. So they were basically faced with moving out of the house, giving back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and either going to rent out an apartment or move in with relatives that would take her in while she's still going through the grieving process with her children as well. Guys, this is a harsh reality that a lot of families tend to be faced with, because certain measures weren't taken, certain contingency plans weren't put in place when you had the time to put them in place. Can you imagine how her life just got turned upside down in a blink of an eye? And that's the biggest thing that I need to press and put forth to you guys, that don't be on the fence, because life happens to us on a daily. And if certain things haven't been actioned, just think about the repercussions. Who would be at the greatest loss? Who would be at the greatest loss? Yeah? So I say all of this because these 2 tips pertain to new bond owners, those who are still looking to purchase property. Guys, the first one is that please get a bond cover. Yeah? Please get a bond cover that would pay this loan amount in the event of your untimely death. If the husband had a bond cover, the least, I see the ongoing care of the wife and the children. If he only had a bond cover that was going to pay for the house, that house would have been secured. The wife and the children would have kept their home that they've grown to know and love. Yeah? So, 1, get a bond cover. If you've had the property for a while, you still don't have a bond cover, get into contact with us. Let's assist you with getting a bond cover in place. This makes sure that in the event of your untimely death or disability or dread disease, the bond cover amount is paid off, and nobody has to be worried or stressing that, oh shucks, now we have to take on this additional expense or liability and we can't even afford it, so we might just lose our home. The bond cover will pay the bank, and the bank will say, thank you very much, you can keep the asset. So guys, everybody who's just purchased the property, has a property but does not have a bond cover, please do make sure that you get a bond cover to protect your asset. Yeah? That is number 1. Number 2, once you've received this bond cover, please, if it is the only cover that you have to your name, please don't make it a depreciating cover, meaning that don't accept a policy that will reduce with the loan amount. What do I mean? Every year your bond amount decreases, right? Because you're paying it off. So over time, over the years, it will decrease. This year it's 800,000 that's still outstanding. 2 years from now it's 600,000. 5 years from now it's 400,000, right? So some people have bond covers that also decrease in value because that loan amount is decreasing. But if this is your only cover that you have in place, rather have it be an appreciating cover that increases every year as opposed to decreasing with the loan amount. The reason for this is because in the event of your untimely death, a cover that appreciates would be able to pay whatever money that would remain after paying the loan. It would pay out to your beneficiaries or your dependents. Because say you had a 1 million rand house. over the years, it's reduced to 500,000 Rand. And your life cover or the bond cover was also R1,000,000. But now the bond cover amount is sitting at 500,000. So the bank will take the 500,000 and the 500,000 will then pay out to the beneficiaries or the dependents that you've mentioned in a will or in your policy, right? As opposed to a depreciating bond cover. In the event of the bond loan amount is now 400 or 200,000 Rand, and we lose your life, unfortunately, the bond cover will pay that 200,000 Rand and it ceases. There will be no additional money to pay out to your family because that would have been your only cover. Unless if you have a depreciating bond cover and you have another policy that basically is comprehensive and will be taking care of your beneficiaries and all estate duty costs, tax implications, and at time of death. I hope I'm making sense, but we will touch on all the different types of policies you can put in place in another video. But for today, the two majors are: make sure you have a bond cover if you have a bond. Number two, make sure that it's not a depreciating bond cover if it is your only cover. Because we also understand, guys, that some of these policies can be expensive. Fair enough. But if this is your only cover that you have to understand that in the event of your untimely death, your spouse still has to continue their life. Your children still have to continue their life. And it would also be nice to have some money come in to help us sustain the lifestyle that you had us enjoy while you were still alive. I believe it's only fair, as opposed to people's lives changing drastically because certain provisions weren't put in place, even though you could afford them. This wife found a policy quote that said 3.6 million Rand. In her eyes, she knew that my family's life is basically secured for the next couple of years. Thank God my husband did the right thing. But only to find out that he fell short of pulling the trigger and actually getting that policy in place. So, yeah, guys, I hope this helps you. I hope this resonates with you. If it's not for you, please don't be shy to share this video, guys. It really doesn't take much for you to share the video on any either or platform, really, so that it can benefit those who need it the most. It's very sad to see people going through these hardships, and yet some of us have the information, but we just fell short of sharing the information with you, or we weren't really that bothered to share this information with you. And yet we say we love you, or you are valuable to us, or you my best friend, or we have a good relationship, and yet when it comes to things that matter the most, we barely share those things. So yeah, I believe that is our Food for Thought Friday, just to once again force you guys to start thinking long term and take these things a bit more seriously, so that we can preserve more families' livelihoods over time. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for being with us. Do have a lovely, a pleasant, and a blessed weekend ahead, and we will catch up with you guys on Sunday on our weekly rant. So this week we will be talking about financial advisors. Yazin, guys, some financial advisors just give us a bad name, and the rant on Sunday will be pertaining to that. I'm calling out financial advisors, holding myself accountable to with my shortfalls, and it takes a lot for somebody to come and be open and honest with people that they barely know, nor do they barely know him, right? So I basically want to start a culture where financial advisors can hold each other accountable, and we can hold our industry accountable, so that we can start doing better on behalf of the clients that we say we represent and we value. Yeah, so please do tune in, turn on notifications so that you are aware when that live will be happening. But from me to you guys, do take care, and a good one further. Cheers.